Oops, am I doing things wrong right off the bat? Probably. Boo! I heat up. I can't cool down. My situation goes meh, meh, meh. Broadcast my browser, the YouTube page. I use the internet like people half my age. I got a browser. I minimize the tabs. I like to draw things, and I use the tabs. Abra, abracadabra. People to be banning. Babra, babra, badabra. Babra. Gonna design some D&D things. At the beginning of my streams, I always sing. Wednesday morning, we hanging out live. I got a PNG that's 2005 pixels across. Abra, abra, cadabra. Abracadabra. I knew a dwarf. He had no thumbs. He used to hang out under a bridge with bums. Built a tunnel under the place. Had lots of hair on his dwarven face. Abra, abracadabra. Bite my monkey, light him on fire. Give the monkey wings, he go higher and higher. Baseball cap with a dumb logo. I hide in your beard because it's cold in the snow. Abra, abra. This song is freaking terrible. I'm gonna drink this coffee here. Hey everybody. Oh boy, there's 43 of you weirdos already. Man, everybody's eager. Chuck Eager, Air Force test pilot. What are we doing here? I think I click some buttons and then the magic of D&D occurs. That is what... In case anybody wonders why I sing this garbage at the beginning of each of my live streams, it's so everybody can, get comfortable. Because, the minute that the stream goes up, that's like when people get the bleep bloop. They get the sheebity beep, so it gives them a few minutes to scabbity boo up. And then by the time everybody's comfy and has removed any annoying pants... I keep getting this thing here. Let me just... Computers. Okay, you're done. You're done, little guy. I don't want your errors. I don't want your error pop-ups. I don't want error pop-ups any more than I want my head to turn into one of those fungus things from The Last of Us. That's not cool. That's not cool. No. No, that's not cool. Abracadabra. Oh, yo gabba gabba, hey, haven't seen a one-shot vid since Night of the Crack. Rich Gravy. I would not expect that level of awesome because I am suffering from advanced age. Yes, this is a no-pants stream. Pants are not advised. I heat up. I can't cool down. My situation goes round and round. Burning fire, monkey flame. Back in the 40s, they called a woman a dame. I don't know if that was ever acceptable. Okay, hey guys, let's not digress on the vernacular of times gone by. Yanni. Let's move this down so it's cool. I hate little windows and tabs and thingies, little rectangles all over my screen. Much less to smite you guys with them. Hey, greetings, program Soul Hankering Fairnail, your buddy from Upper Runehamarian. This is Unkrin Bernal. That's my new character name. Hello, I'm Unkrin Bernal. Okay. Well, we got people with various levels of pants wearing. We got 3 pair. We got no pair. Whatever. Just knock them knees together 3 times and say there's no place like Runehammer. Welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday morning. Behold, the terror of the white rectangle. We're going to launch into this white rectangle, and we are going to create a one-shot called The Fall of Thorn Manor. Okay, so now don't mistake my weird hesitations and oddities here for simulated confusion, because very deliberately I have not prepared the work for this morning. And so the reason is I wanted to show in full stark relief, in terrifying honesty, the process of searching for and discovering an idea and then working into that idea. I think it would be a form of like cheating, or in my opinion, like unauthentic transmission for me to have this prepared and then come off with it like I was coming up with it on the fly. Okay, so this is 100% legit. I have not prepared this. I don't even know what Thorn Manor is. I just made that up. But as we all know as Dungeon Masters, objective reality is important for the feeling of immersion and the feeling of actuality for the players at the table, right? So you don't want to be doing what I'm doing right here this morning at the table. That to me is not fair to the players, just entirely making things up right on the fly in front of them. Of course you're going to improv some things, but the big things you really should have written in some form so that they have a sense of an objective reality beyond the moment. All right? But that's not what we're doing this morning. We're not playing right now. We are in the creative part. We are in the hand-wringing, lair-dwelling, shadow-hiding, evil snickering, axiomatic, I can do anything I want, Dungeon Master mode, which is where we just want to find our creative juices and access them and just have fun with it and hope that an idea flows out. Now, there's always a chance when you're being creative, you're just going to wind up with something that you're not very excited about, and the white page is smiting you, and you're not getting that far. That can always happen. So we're going to hope that doesn't. Now, 2 mitigations for that happening. 1, exercise. Get up early. Oxygenate that brain. You will have ideas. 2, caffeine. 3, no pants. All right. I'm wearing shorts. Does that count as no pants? I have shorts on, guys. Shorts. Okay. Offthorn. Easy fix. The matter's name is Offthorn. Do you want our help? Keenan Hall. If I need help, or if I want to, crowdsource something, then I will holler out, okay? So let me just go as much as I can, and if I holler out for crowdsourcing, y'all back me up. I know you guys do that anyways. We have a certain simpatico. My lumpy-headed weirdos, my 3-thumbers. We have a certain je ne sais quoi, l'esprit de coeur. So, Kalimera, my friends. Kalimera, let's get this sucker going. The Fall of Thorn Manor. Okay, first I want to just lay out my pieces. All right, these are circles. These are circles. These are nice circles. There's going to be 4 circles. All right, so I'm going to just start naming these things. And you guys just kind of, you just sit back, strap in and feel the cheese, as Max Power would say. Here we go. Everyone's, I don't have to talk constantly. It's freaking annoying, right? Just like, hey McFly. Okay, so first of all, the intro. Now, I don't mean the intro like, long ago, my buttocks was tanning in the sun. No. By intro, I actually mean introductions as in the social sense. Now, especially if you're talking like con one-shots, you guys, cons are weird. There's like people everywhere. Everybody's coming and going. You probably had way too much to drink the night before. You're probably underprepared. You probably don't know your players. You're in some super uninspiring environment that's got like corporate gray carpet and like like paneled walls and stuff, and like fluorescent lights. Like, this is not an inspiring place to play RPGs. I like dim lights, candlelight, my homies, smoke in the air, incense, beers all around. So a con is like, whoa. So how are you going to do an intro? So this is something that's on my mind a lot, because with doing this kind of stuff, I often kind of chicken out, and I'll do a lot less drama than I had intended. So I want to do two things here for the intro. One, I want to do who y'all, and then two, I want to do like me voice. Okay, this is ridiculous. But again, I'm just being totally honest here, guys. So this is like me thinking out how I'm going to do this. Now, we'll get into each one of these as I go. Now, the hook is like super fun action, and we'll get into that in a second. Then the twist is like sort of, it's eerie, there's a reveal, and there's some kind of switch. Okay, so we're going to fill in each one of these things. And then for the cataclysm, we're going to have like epic, we're going to have big rolls, and we're going to have something like deadly ending. Okay, all right, so first of all, who y'all? I want to do who y'all by imitating or copying something that Tim Carney did at AtCon. Okay, so who y'all is kind of like not necessarily just saying, hey, what are you guys' names? Hey, I'm Brandon. Yeah, what's up? Let's kick it. Stone Cold. What's up? Let me go get my, I actually have beer in this water bottle. Okay, that's the first part. But then socially, I want something that's going to break the ice. And Tim Carney had a cool way of doing it. So instead of just introducing us to whatever was happening in the one shot, he fast forwarded into the future after the one shot was over, and that's what I want to do. So I want to look back on the adventure as if it's over already, and I want to say something like, it's all gone. It's all gone. It's over. And then another voice says, then we're doomed. And he says, so how did it happen? And then I say, and this is kind of in my voice, let me tell you. Okay, so what does this mean? This is like, in Tim Carney's case, he did it like this sort of sort of police force, or these government sort of paladins who say like, okay, I've got this letter here that this whole area was destroyed. What the hell happened? I need a report. And this soldier, or who is it that enters the room in this shadowy room and begins to tell him the account of what happened at Thorn Manor? That's what I'm going to do. Now, since I don't even know what the hell this one shot is yet, I can't tell you anything really about the details of this. I just know I want to use that mechanism, that method. So do you see what I mean? What I'm trying to illustrate here is that without knowing anything here, I don't want to beat myself up for not knowing what this adventure is yet. I just want to give myself something to stand on. Okay, it's 9:02. I'm 2 minutes into my work session here. And I have no idea what the hell I'm going to do, and that's okay. That's the real message that I want to deliver this morning. Not necessarily, hey guys, look how cool my one-shots are, or look how cool my creative method is. Blah, 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 blah. No. As usual, my key message here is that it's okay to not have any idea what you're doing. What you do is just work yourself into it. Just slowly begin, right? You stretch before you lift weights, right? So we're not lifting creative weights yet. We're just kind of stretching a little bit. We're saying, hey, look, I know there's 4 pieces to this puzzle. I think I have some ideas of things that are neat that might fit in these 4 pieces, but I really don't know what the hell this is yet. Okay, so who are y'all? So I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to say, hey guys, and then I'm going to be like, it's 6 months in the future. Somewhere in the nearby town of Shropshire, the magistrate is looking at a series of papers, reports, drawings, and first-hand accounts, reading about why this giant crater has formed where Thorn Manor once was. Okay, there. I just stumbled into it. So I'm going to do this. Me voice. Giant crater Thorn Manor gone. Now, what do I mean by the me voice? I thought at first it was going to be like what character I was going to be in the one shot, but I realize now it's that moment that just happened with you guys. It's that moment that I kind of switch into this like narrator DM character. And you guys all know this moment. It's the moment that you kind of put the Doritos aside at the beginning of the night, right? And you feel it. You feel when the time is right. I have like spider webs on me. Why do I have spider webs on me? You feel in this moment when the moment is right to go from being, Brandon in your house to being Ankarin Bernal, right? You become this dungeon master character, and it just, I don't know, it just happens. You guys know how this is. And the creepy part is sometimes it's the middle of the session before it really happens. You're just sort of going through the motions, but then you become this character. For me, I always know it's happening because I'll take on this voice. Right? 6 months from now, in the nearby town of Shropshire, the local magistrate, once a paladin himself, but now a grizzled old veteran, just like myself, named Ankarin Bernal, looks through a series of papers, drawings, and first-hand accounts of why where Thorn Manor once was, there is only a smoldering crater. The crown jewel of the region, of the county, Thorn Manor, a place as old as anyone can remember, and probably far older, has been destroyed. And this is the story of what happened. Okay, there you go. So see, I'm in the future, and I'm looking back, and the players already know one key thing, which is that Thorn Manor is going to be leveled. Really, the whole place is going to be a crater by the end. And you guys know how I like to end a lot of my one-shots this way. The reason I like to end my one-shots this way is that it lets people leave the one-shot with absolute closure. Absolute closure. So if you look at Beneath the Door or Night of the Crack, there are these huge either time loops or world destroyers, same with Viking Death Squad, right? And it gives you complete closure as a player when you walk away from the table. You're not kind of like, oh man, I wonder, what might happen to that player someday or that character someday. No, you don't wonder that. They've been smashed to atoms. Okay, then there's another little note I want to make, which is, this is what happened. Now, am I going to be looking at this stuff when I'm playing? Probably not. But for me, it's a mnemonic device to write down bullets. Writing down bullets cements ideas in my brain so that I remember them better. Some people are auditory learners. Some people are visual learners or write down learners. And for me, if I write a thing down, I'm almost guaranteed to remember it for quite some time. So I use that to my advantage. Okay, so this is the hardest part to me, and the rest of the one-shot is going to be easy. The hardest part to me is remembering who I am as an RPG player, remembering who I am as a dungeon master, and being confident with new people. Right? I mean, let's be honest. This is not an art form of, like you get a curtain that parts, and you get to be frickin' Anthony Hopkins. No. You're just an average person who just likes playing RPGs, and you're playing them with people you probably don't know. And it's weird. But once you get past that moment and you see that twinkle in the eyes of your fellow players, then it's time to slide down the rabbit hole and have a great time. Okay, so that's why I want a clear concept to bring everybody in. Okay? So, boom. Thorn Manor was totally destroyed, and this is what happens. Or this is what happened. And now, my players, greetings. We rewind, and out of nowhere, you find yourself baffled, confused, in a body that you have never, not been in isn't the right term. You find yourself baffled and confused, occupying a body that doesn't even feel like your own. But in a few moments, your fingers begin to loosen. Your belt feels familiar again. You start to remember and look around. And your surroundings are terrible. Okay, so some kind of memory wipe has happened to the players. Oh, there, I just stumbled on a key note. So you see what I did is I just started talking without knowing where I'm going. But what I did know is that I wanted to have unfamiliar bodies on my characters or my players so that they can experience themselves anew, because let's face it, they just got handed like a pre-gen. They don't know who the hell they are. They don't know anything. We're all just finishing our lunch and stuff. So I want to embrace that as part of the one-shot. And this lets them begin to discover themselves in a meta way as a player, but also as a character. Okay, so you see what I mean? So we start with a memory wipe. And you know what? I want to have fun with this. I'm going to do 3 of them. Look at this stuff. Now, this is something I've never done in a one-shot. Okay, so what I'm going to need is 3 sets of pre-gens. So this is going to give me sort of that feeling of leveling up for my players. So actually, wait, this suddenly now this is creating the adventure, which I never intended, but this is just sort of happening in front of me. These guys are like rangers. These guys are delvers. And these guys are sorcerers. Now, it won't be that simple and that boiled down, but this is what's going to sort of give me guidance to start creating what this adventure is. Okay? So, yeah, I see everybody, yeah, monster slaying montage. Yeah, a montage is a really great creative tool to use in your brain because we can all conjure a montage because montages are general, not specific. Cooper, stop. Cooper is starting to recover from his heat itching, but not quite. So if I interrupt by snapping my fingers at Coon, it's for his own good. Abracadabra. I wanna reach out and grab ya. Okay. So, super fun action with rangers. What does that mean? I think I'm starting to see maybe how my content could begin. So what's super fun action with rangers? It's fighting in the forest. Forest near the manor. And that, to finish these off, I'm going to need goals on each one of these. And then we can move in and we can design the pieces. You see what I'm doing? Okay, next we've got the delvers. So this is beneath the manor. Because they're delving. And this one, the third one, these guys are crazy. This is like in the Dark Realm. This is in metaspace. This is in another freaking dimension. Like we're going to take it to Freako Land at the end. I said freak twice. One per sentence. One freaking, one freak. Lay freak. Say chic. Okay, then finally, what's the goal? And I still don't even know what my freaking content is. I'm just trying to get there by letting myself stretch. They need to get in. And we'll figure out why in a second. Beneath the manor. They need to... Okay, this is where we're going to reveal something and we're going to switch the story. They need to... Man, they need to... Maybe they need to unlock the Dark Realm. And then here, they need to defeat the Ogdru, of course. There's no way you're going to do a one-shot at my table without freaking confronting the gods of chaos. Head on. Because one-shot, baby. Woo! If it's going to be low fantasy, then we're going to go like way down low, like you're going to fight a bug. There's going to be like one large insect. We're talking low fantasy. You're going to get a cold. You're going to have the sniffles. But we're not doing low fantasy for this. We're doing Crazy Town. Okay, so now all I need to do is fill in my buckets. And I'm going to have my adventure. So in my mind, I've done a lot of the hardest work already. And that's what I wanted to reinforce in the stream this morning. By the way, if I'm looking over here, it's not because I don't love you. It's not because Cooper is nibbling on his butt. It's because I'm looking at them comments. Yeah, Sean Lees, that's pretty interesting. I think there is time that's stretching here. So why don't we just add it to the illustration? Okay? Here, look at this. So we've got this. This is what Sean is sort of interested in, is what are these right here? This is a matter of days here, and this is a matter of weeks. And this is a matter of months. Fibonaccian, you guys. Fibonaccian. Boo, right? The golden ratio. So we close down and down and down. Again, talking about a little bit like time and thinking in time like we did on Monday. Okay, so, boo, Chip chop chop. Okay, so now let's get into the goods. Okay, first we're going to design the hook. So I'm going to grab this little blurb. And if I was working with pen and ink in my journal, I would just kind of, do this the analog way. But I get to be Photoshop man. I get to be Photoshop man. Okay, so the hook is... Okay, what's my goal here? So we have the Rangers. We're outside the forest in the manor, and they have to get in there. And somehow the house is pushing them away. And if they don't get in there... Okay, here we go. I didn't even know what I was saying, but I just stumbled upon it. We need the stakes, and we need the goal. And not in that order, in the exact opposite order, because I am not the sharpest tool in the drawer. I'm not the fastest car on the track. Okay, the goal is to... They don't just need to get in there. They need to get in there to do what only the sorcerers wind up being able to do. To stop the Ogdru. All right? Everyone, all 3 pre-gen sets have the same goal. Ooh, that's cool. But they keep failing. So stop the Ogdru, because everything's being destroyed. Okay, we're going to make it pretty simple. So there's like giant shapeless shuggoth things that are starting to emanate out of the house because somebody lost control of something. We're not even going to talk to you about what the hell happened, but it's crazy. And it's like pulling trees in, and it's like pulling entire buildings, and like this whole effect is just going to eat the entire landscape all the way over to the town of Shropshire. The loss of human life is going to be staggering if someone doesn't stop the Ogdru, the gods of chaos. And these rangers happen to be moving through the woods at this time, and it must be done. There's no denying it. Go. The stakes are, if you fail, basically the landscape will fall. Or another way to say it is the Ogdru will be released. Now, a good player question here would be like, do we know what the Ogdru are? Absolutely. Just like lay it all out there as the DM. And I don't even need to write this down. You can make this stuff up. And I really pull the Ogdru right from Hellboy, which are these 7 giant octopus things that are held in crystals in deep space. Okay. So if someone asks you what the Ogdru are, you tell them that. They're giant octopuses held in crystals in deep space. So there you go. Okay. So their goal is to get into the manor and stop the Ogdru at all costs. The stakes are, if they fail, the whole landscape is going to be destroyed. So what we need to do is establish a way that we can kind of transition this whole thing. So what's going to happen is they need to just approach and break a seal. That's all they're going to do. So we're going to have like 4 pre-gens, and I can work on those later. I'm not too worried about that. And then the forest near the manor. Okay, cool. That's where we now have a cool encounter to design and where we can get into some player choices. So let's think far out first. Okay, the manor is a central building and maybe 2 outbuildings. Why? Because we want to provide some choice. You got a front, you got a back, you got a doot, you got a doot, and then there's like a sort of escarpment. There's a little road, there's some stairs to get up to it, there's a little wagon parking area down here. A lot of this stuff is being destroyed. There are little towers on the manor. Whatever, this doesn't really matter because we're not really getting in there. That's a different stage. We're going to be in the woods. This is really one of my core tasks, so I'm going to give myself some more space. So if we're in the woods, what could be interesting about just trying to basically reach the door of this place and like break this wizard's lock? Oh, okay, there's something. There's something right there. Wizard's lock. So they just need to break the wizard's lock. They're going to unlock the house, right, for someone else to get in, and then they're like going to be wiped. They're going to be either blown off the face of the cosmos or vaporized, or their memories, they won't even know what happened to them. But they break that lock, and the release of power is so incredible, we memory wipe to the next phase of the whole story. So what could make it interesting? Well, there's definitely going to be critters and maybe like men who have been touched by the Ogdru, trying to keep them at bay. Okay, so let's do some woods. We got some woods. So these little blobs represent really thick areas of woods. Okay, then we've got baddies. Then we've got our good guys. They're down here. Okay, the trail goes through the woods here. And then I'd like to do sort of one key bad thing, and I think it's right here. Now remember, the first part of the adventure, the idea is just to have a lot of fast-moving action and pull everybody into the game, and then we're going to rest a little bit for the middle part, which is where people can role-play a little more, but you don't want to hit them with role-playing like right at the beginning. Because, people don't know each other yet. They're not familiar with their characters and stuff. So what you want to do is just jump into some combat. Okay, so X equals Ogdru touched men. And frowny face equals a corpse flower. Just to go with Black Magic Craft's latest project. Why not? Let's just run with it. So in these woods, these dark forces that are emanating from the manor have created this thistle monster, which is moving around, and it has like the skulls of those that it's devoured sort of attached to it, and little body parts that are tangled up in the vines, and it has these weird blooms on it. And designing the mechanics around this monster is going to be part of the fun of the early part of the game. Okay. So now our goal is this door right here. That's the wizard's lock, and it's like a cellar door. And so what you're going to need is some fun ways to describe the manor as you approach. Right, this place is like the walls are leaning in. The whole thing, like all the straight lines are bending and swaying, and like the windows are like sort of squishing, and it's like Beetlejuicy almost in a way. And the doors have all begun to just close like giant eyelids, right? And they've just become these narrow slits. There's no way in this thing. There's no way to... This makes no sense. But if they explore the house enough, they do see one door, which is like angled downward, has this glyph on it, and it's the RCRPG glyph. It's the wizard's lock, and it's like glowing with power. And they realize all they need to do is shatter this lock, and they're going to be able to get in. And you don't have to be all secret about it and make them figure it out. This is a one-shot. You don't have that much time. So you just tell them openly. They've heard about the wizard's lock. They know what that is, what it's used for. It's a glyph of incredible power that's binding this house. And binding it in the wrong way. Not binding it like containing the Ogdru. It's protecting the Ogdru. It's amplifying magical power. If you really wanted to go like Ghostbusters with it, there's like a beam coming down out of a portal above this house, and it's shooting into the wizard's lock, and the whole thing is like, and there's these rangers moving through the woods, and when the adventure starts, they've already accepted that they're going to do this. I don't believe in starting one-shots with letting players decide to go do the awesome thing. They've already begun. They're already on the path. They've already decided to basically risk their lives to try to stop this evil force. And that's on their pre-gen. So you put on their pre-gen sheet why they are willing to go to such lengths to try to stop this evil. Okay, so let's make a quick note of that. See this little pre-gen spot over here? Be sure to include purpose. Okay, now that may be cryptic to you guys, but for me, that's my own sort of interior language that reminds me, like, give them a bond that makes it absolutely critical that they stop this. Somebody's little sister recently suffered this horrible demise as she was like ripped apart by these tentacles and Shoggoth-like shapes that burst out of her. which were part of the rising power in Thorn Manor, right? So I need revenge. I need to find out what happened. Another one is maybe this sort of more druid-like character who knows that this force is going to completely upset the balance of nature and mankind if it's allowed to run rampant. And so you give them all these strong purposes, and together they're already moving toward the manor when the adventure begins. Okay, does that make sense? Looks like the raspberry bush is at my house. Yeah, show me on the doll where the Ogdru touched you. Okay, this is enough, honestly. I can do the rest later because I'm at 25 minutes, so I got to keep moving. Second part. So right as they manage to shatter the Wizard's Lock, which remember, we're just going to be up front with this whole thing. They know that's what must be done. We're not going to make them figure it out. There's no time. They know that they have to go shatter the Wizard's Lock to be able to stop the Ogdru. But the shattering of it, whether it's with an arrow or who knows how things could play out. I'm not here to decide how they play out. That's up to players. I'm just here to pose the situation. That thing shatters. Maybe it has 1 hit point. When it does, that beam is disrupted and the whole scene goes and who they are is wiped. They may be vaporized, they may be killed, they may just have their memories wiped. We have no idea. But then we fast forward. How far do we fast forward? A matter of weeks. So several weeks after the seal was broken, the Delvers are deep beneath Thorn Manor. Okay? And here we are right here. So we want eerie, we want to reveal some stuff, and we want to sort of switch things. Eerie to me sounds like some kind of tunnel crawl. So we join our Delvers well into their exploration of the massive labyrinth that's underneath Thorn Manor as they're sort of, past the easy part and feeling some kind of vibration ahead of them. And they also snap into their bodies. They're like, who are we? Who am I? Right? And now they're these sort of more advanced heroes. And they're doing this tunnel crawl. Cooper, stop. For the love of all that's good in this world, Cooper. Just quit it. All right. So the reveal is that the Thorn family, they sort of conjured the Ogdru. Okay? So they actually find either a statue, a book, a scroll, or even a character who's gone half mad, if you want to act it out, if you have that much, thespianism in you for the day. But they find out that this isn't just an accidental situation, that the Thorn family intentionally conjured the Ogdru because Silas Thorn returned from his expedition to Cath with this weird artifact. Okay, I don't know where this is going, but that's something. This polyhedral jewel that when you look into it, it's like convinces you that the Ogdru must return to the earth. And he became deluded by this thing and he wanted to conjure them. And there's actually an artifact somewhere down here. And if it can be undone, if the spell can sort of unmake it or stop its power, then the Ogdru will be contained and it'll all be over. Okay, so this group of Delvers must find that artifact. Must find. Pow. And I'm just going to tell them all this, just right out front. Remember, there's not a lot of time to be figuring things out. Okay, then the switch. Ooh, this is where we can get gross. This is where we can get gross. Somehow we need to find out that this is not true. This is somehow the opposite of the truth. I'm not quite sure how yet, but somehow in Thorn is actually the good guy. And there's something else. Someone else is behind this. Who have I been using It could be our new villain, Vath. Let's use him. Vath has been controlling him. And so what we do is we're going to bring all of the players' vengeance and all of the players' malice and wrath against Silas Thorn. Silas Thorn did this. He conjured the Ogdru. He wants to destroy the land. He wants to devour all the souls in Shropshire. So we constantly reinforce that that's what you want. He's the guy you want to kill. And then this switch is going to be, nope, it's Vath. Vath is who's doing this. And we're only going to reveal it maybe when Silas Thorn is slain. I know, that's a little gnarly, right? So I think that's what this whole part is coming to, is that the Delvers seek to kill Silas and stop the jewel. Interesting. But maybe Vath is actually contained in the jewel and he can't be released until Silas is killed, like a genie. Vath in jewel trapped till Silas dead. Okay, there we go. So I know that's all convoluted and crazy, but that's what I meant by a switch, and this is what I mean by this middle part of the adventure where we can get into our heads a little more. We can have a little more fun with what players think of things. Because to hit them with that right away is to me is baffling. You know, you're fresh to the table, you don't know your other player, you're not comfortable maybe doing your voice or an accent or anything quite yet. But after an hour or a little more, everybody's more comfortable and they're ready to face some role-playing choices. And these are choices like how you respond to Silas and so on and so forth. Okay, but to get there, we still need some crawl to do, right? And we need some options. So, hell, I don't know. Here, there's a weird ritual chamber. Here's the altar. And there's a series of tunnels that give players some choices. Now, I don't need like a zillion choices. Remember, this is just a one-shot. Okay, so just bear with me for a moment while I design this. Okay, here we go. Door, smashed door, stairs, stairs. And then here is the jewel. And here is Silas. And then like he has these weird sort of portals or windows where the Ogdru are starting to come through. And you guys may have seen some of my encounters with Salag and stuff, and these are similar things. I fall back on some of my staples. But, for doing a one-shot, especially at a con, falling back on what you're good at, I think is a good move. Because the social environment is challenging, and you want to do what you're good at. Okay. All right. So, what are my choices and why are they meaningful here? Yeah, this is an underground map now. We are under the manor. And this is a descent. I've always liked to do a descent. And are these meaningful choices here? Is it just a door number 2, door number 1, door number 3 kind of thing? Or do they need to cover all their bases here? Well, I don't really like backtracking. So one has to wonder as a dungeon master, why would I pose this choice right here? Right? You see 3 corridors. Why would I do that to you? What good does that do me? Because in a one shot, you're probably going to leave 2 of the corridors unexplored. So I don't like this design. So I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to go here. And I'm actually going to change my concept to more of a railroad. What I'm going to do is give them choices of how, not which. Stairs, stairs, broken. And we'll get into that in a second. And then this chamber. And this is really going to be the guts of phase 2. or of the middle section. Okay. So, and then we're going to also think about remembering what we're doing with this section. We're going to try to reinforce it with our dungeon. What about food stores and stuff? I just don't care. Like, you know, what is the excitement of rescuing the world from the gods of chaos with beds and crates of food? You know, I see no interest there. I often think that dungeons waste a lot of their detail on mundane or banal details, such as beds, barracks. You know, you come in a room where they're storing their food, and I'm just like, so? I want to go fight the gods of chaos. Okay, so what are we going to do, and why does it matter? And I think we're just going to move them through. So where do they start? The Delvers. The Delvers are right here. This is like a massive chasm. And we have the Ogdru touched, but they're going to be escalated now. So now they're the Ogdru spawn. Okay, so let's get that done. They are like right here. They're between the players and their goal. And then they're also hiding behind some of these pillars. And all they're doing is they're in a mad dash to reach this jewel, to reach Silas. And then here we have a bit of a timer threat treat type balance out. So here's a couple treats. So I'm going to mark those with yellow, yellow being the color of gold. And this is where we get to do some loot rolls in the adventure. A couple of loot rolls, or maybe even 3 loot rolls. 3 chests. Okay. Or maybe 1 per player might be kind of fun. Yeah, the system doesn't matter. Systems just, yeah. To me, a game system does absolutely nothing for a game. It's the content that matters. Okay. Here we go. So now what am I doing? Well, these aren't pits, these are pillars. Then you go into a little bit of a brief respite with the chests, and then you come to Silas. But I need pressure. I need pressure. I need pressure. I need to push this delve fast. And the way I'm going to do it is right when we join the adventure, the Ogdru are breaking through the walls of this place. It's begun. And look, here they are. So we can do a simple mechanic if you want to be boneheaded with it. 1d4 sort of forms, we can call them, because I'm tired of the word tentacles. Spawn per turn, per round. Like, I'm telling you, this is nuts. And they're all around the players, near. So there's even one like right here, coming out of this chasm, and it's actually what created the chasm. It broke the foundations of the bedrock, this thing. So they need to get across here. I use green for the players. They need to get across there. They need to dash through here. And when they dash through here, I want them to see this ancient history. So what are these? These are like tapestries or paintings or something? Family history of blasphemy is what I'm going to call it. You know, and I can improvise this at the table, but basically this room reveals that the Thorn family has been involved. Remember, they're not bad guys, but we don't know that yet. They've been involved in the study of the Ogdru for centuries. Now, what we want to do is red herring the players into thinking that Silas Thorn is responsible for all this. But the truth is that he has been researching this to stop it. But you don't see that in the gallery. You're only going to be sort of hinted at it in ways that you're probably going to improvise at the table as the players kind of honestly mash things up and make chaos of things with their actions. You're maybe going to reveal it a little bit through the Ogdru touched or through lines that Silas may say. But now we're sort of starting to get there, okay? So I hope everybody's following me, because this is not a refined concept. I'm not delivering to you guys some kind of, hey guys, here's a room design I came up with, and like, welcome to Runehammer, and here's some packaged product. No, I'm literally struggling with my own lack of an idea here right in front of you. So if it seems a little scatterbrained, that's because it's happening right now. I mean, this is okay. So, but at least I start to feel my dungeon. Now I'm just trying to make my drawing cooler. And I don't know how my drawing is going to play into my one shot, if I'm going to have terrain, if I'm going to have a battle mat, or what. But I can tell you, no matter, even if you're doing theater of the mind, having cool maps as part of your prep, as part of your dungeon master's art, I think is essential, because for me, it gets my enthusiasm going for the hobby and for the game. Oh, sorry, I'm a little bit under my camera, aren't I? Here, let me scoot over. Is that better? You get where you guys can see everything. You're not blocked a little bit. There, that's a little better. Okay. So having a cool map is a tool that I use to ignite some of my enthusiasm, so that if I forget what I thought was so cool about this encounter, which, you know, that happens, right? Especially if you're in multiple games, you can forget, what was I thinking that was going to be so neat about this? Why did I think this was cool? Oh yeah, this map, and there was going to be these tentacles and stuff. And that just gets me excited again. And that enthusiasm will translate to energy at the table. And as you guys know, I'm a huge believer the DM has to set that tone of high energy for a game to be really fun. You don't want sleepy games, ever. Okay, there you go. Okay, so feels like a 1 credit college course. That's absolutely brutal. I think that you could at least give me 3 credits on this. 1 credit? Come on. 1 credit is like breakfast 101. Like, I can do better than 1 credit. Okay, the family history of blasphemy. So these are all things that I could maybe expand on and do some more writing on, like in a Google Doc. But for now, I just wanted to walk you guys through. So I'm getting there. Okay, there we go. All right. Ooh, this isn't easy. I gotta say, to do it at this speed is a bit blinding. All right, now what I don't know is what happens at the end of this section. But somehow we're gonna pull a little bit of the same trick. Is that the Delvers, they meet Silas Thorne, they confront him. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. They confront him, and they think that they're going to beat him, that they're going to solve all this by crushing him, by defeating him. But in fact, it's Vath, and when this jewel is destroyed, Vath is released. And then when Vath is released, they just begin to see him like in this blinding light. And this is a different Vath from Monday with Stormspire. This is a powered up Vath. This is this wildling who is immense with magic power. And just looking at him, it mind wipes our heroes. And one of the heroes, or maybe even Silas himself, in a final last-ditch effort, he we mention the Dark Realm. Somehow he opens it and contacts these sorcerers that he knows of. And we tell the players openly that he does this. He knows this cabal of sorcerers that is his last hope. And his dying action is to sort of summon them into the Dark Realm as he's like, ah, and like the tentacles are tearing his throat apart. Right? So I don't fully know how that all works. But look, I stumbled back into one of my precepts, which is I want to unlock the Dark Realm. Now we're going to have a soda. Everybody's going to rest a little bit. And we're going to go into the 3rd section, which is the Cataclysm. Okay, this is hour 3 of our one-shot. Hour 3 of our one-shot is quite simple. It is a battle. It's a battle on floating fragments of stone. And you guys know I've used this in a few of my sort of boss fights. It's always fun and exciting. It's cool. It's just that damn simple. And I'm just going to go back to what I know. Okay, there's these weird fragments of stone. All right, we have Vath. We have this like sort of purple swirling dimension of insanity, which is below these fragments. Right? It's kind of this storm. They're like a magical storm. And really now all we need to do is a room design. Like all the mysteries are gone. We are at the boss fight here. We know that the Ogdru are rising up out of this storm. This is maybe the maelstrom that was like once contained inside the jewel, but now we are in there. We are the cabal of wizards that have been called upon by Silas Thorne to rescue this stuff. And I don't want to come up with the solution. What I want to do is let players struggle with the fact that destruction is imminent. I also maybe want to hint at them that the only way for this to end is for them to just destroy this and seal this place forever with them inside. Or maybe they find a way or devise a way or imagine a way to defeat Vath without defeating themselves, that they can somehow teleport out. I'm going to introduce them to their new characters. They're these sorcerers. They appear right here. These things are drifting around and changing location. They can be destroyed. I know I lean on lightning quite frequently, but who cares? That's fine. Maybe these things are giving off these arcs of energy that are striking different parts of the platforms. Maybe that can be used. Maybe metal could be used to guide some of the arcing energy. Maybe there's a sort of an artifact or a spire at the center of this glyph that, like, he's drawing, that Vath is drawing this purple energy from, and he's like bringing down this beam. You're in this like, holy crap. Fast Sniper Fox. I don't really believe in levels and tiers. All gameplay is just gameplay to me. I don't really do levels and stuff. It's just characters. And this part's going to be a little more convoluted and crazy because they're sorcerers, but they're not necessarily more or less powerful. I don't really think that huge numbers make encounters more fun. I just don't believe that. So it's like, hey, look at this guy. He has 500 hit points. I really think the fun is in what happens and why. And so I wouldn't really think in terms of level or tier to try to answer that question. Might be a poor answer, but that's my answer. Okay, so this is the Maelstrom, and somebody's going to fall down in this thing and die a horrible death, if not everybody. And now all I need to do is the easy part, right? I just need to design some room mechanics, maybe make a sort of a keyhole solution to this. Maybe there is no solution. But what I really want to get to is a final moment. Okay, and this is really a note worth keeping. Okay, and this is what I want to give you guys as we start to come in toward the end of the hour. Is that, Michael Mock, thank you for bringing that up, is that the targets here, we haven't even talked about the targets. We haven't even talked about like how complex are the pre-gens, how powerful are the pre-gens, what kind of power level do the monsters or the Ogdru touched, the evil men, or the corpse flower, what kind of power levels, I don't care. To me, that's really is the easiest part of this whole process, is just kind of laying down some stats on things. The puzzle to me is finding a story that's going to be crazy and exciting. So this is where we come to the final moment, is that I want to make sure I give about 15 minutes at the end of the one shot for each player to get what I like to call the last panel in the comic book of this adventure. So it isn't an ending, and it isn't a what do you do? It isn't a how did you win? How is it resolved? It isn't that question. It's a simple question of how do we see you last? What's the last moment we see of your character? Is it you, raising your fist in triumph? Is it you being vaporized? Is it you screaming in horror as you open the forbidden book? Maybe Vath has like the Necronomicon, and the last thing you see of your character is opening it and like your face being melted off like Raiders of the Ark style? Is it you like driving the magic dagger of the Ogdru into Vath's brain? You know, like, it could be anything. But the interesting question is, how do we see you at the final moment? So let me just top off my coffee real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay. Here's to you, my friends. Whew! It's getting hot in here, so take off all your pants. Okay, so once again, I wanted to reinforce that the one shot that I'm creating here is honestly completely not finished. I mean, all it is a totally rough sketch, right? And what I'm trying to reinforce is not that I just made a cool one shot, because I didn't. I barely did anything here. But what I wanted to reinforce is that it's okay that I started with no clue what I'm doing and found my way through the mess. And you guys know how I am with this sort of mission of mine. Cooper, stop it. This mission of mine, which is to expose creative method and to remind everybody it's okay to not know what the hell you're getting yourself into, and then to use your creative practice and your creative muscles to work your way through what it can be. So now, thanks for the question, by the way. I'm not sure. It's already scrolled up because you guys are so active in there. But now that I bring all three of these sheets together, right, this starts to actually sort of look like something, doesn't it? Here's part one. Right? Here's part two. And here's part three. So if I were to show you this all assembled like this, it kind of looks like I knew what I was doing a little bit, doesn't it? Looks kind of cool. So let's move three. Oh, whoa, what in blazes? Okay, so let's move three down here. And let's put one up top. Give it a little space. Okay, and then I just want to put titles on them, right? This is to break the lock. Okay, this is, Maze of Death. I don't know, I'm just gonna, but I like titles because they just give me sort of a creative anchor. And this is Maelstrom, which is a word I use a lot, I know, but I like it. It gets me going creatively, so why not just go with it? Okay, Maelstrom. Story of Ghost Mountain. All right. There we go. 1, 2, and 3, and we're gonna move this. Now, why am I doing this? Is this affecting the quality of my one shot? No. But like I said before, if I have cool looking diagrams and fun looking stuff to look at as a DM, it ignites my enthusiasm. And if my enthusiasm is hot, then it's going to be a great adventure. It's going to be fun. And I know that because I know my DMing style, I know my table style, and I know that if I'm excited about my notes, it's going to come through cool, so I like my notes to look cool. So I do all these little things that aren't necessary, but make me feel cool. 1, 2, and then 2 to 3. Kind of goes like whoosh, through there. All right, so this might be, maybe like 3 pages in my journal or something or other. Whatever, it doesn't matter. What matters is the way that I got here. Break the lock, break the artifact. and break the world. If you can't say the names of your pieces of your one shot without like dope guitar following up, it might be boring. Okay, so I have my thing. Here's my thing. This is 3 setups. There are 3 little goals. And if you wanted to simplify it at the last second because you're freaking out, you don't have to have your 3 sets of pre-gens. You can just do 1 set of pre-gens and move them through. You don't have to wipe who they are. You could just wipe where they are and when they are. But it's to me, it's a little weirder. I think it's kind of fun to hand out a new set of pre-gens. You know, it just keeps everyone engaged in the table. Okay, now let's do a couple final notes. Things like not to forget. Okay, bang. 1, you need your notes. 2, you need a campfire. I'll talk about that in a second. 3, you need your pre-gens. And 4, you need your minis, which really is campfire. So notes, of course I'm going to have. No problem. I got that. Pre-gens, I'm going to hand them out as I go. So I'm going to have handouts ready. Now, minis and campfire. Campfire really is the key here. And this is what I really wanted to talk about at the end. Campfire. Have you ever been camping and you can't have a fire because, you know, like it's fire season and, you know, it's like it's not allowed and stuff like that? It's bloody miserable. I always overcomplicate the adventure. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to avoid here. The campfire to me is anything you can provide that that players can look at while they play. It's got to be something. It's got to be something. It cannot be space. It can't be their character sheets. It can't be the window. You've got to have something. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to flex on this one. I will be very rigid on this. I know normally I'm always saying, you know, everybody can play their way and I don't want to this, that, or the other thing. But as a player, I'm saying if you don't have some kind of campfire in the game, I don't care how cool your game is, it can get tedious. You've got to have something. A campfire is something for a group of human beings to look at while they interact socially. And this could be 3D terrain. It can be printed out pieces of paper. It can be just miniatures on a table. It could be a battle mat. It could be just index cards with little doodads on it. It could be an iPad with JPEGs of cool things. Anything except nothing for them to look at to help their imaginations. But this is it. It's not about helping their imagination. The campfire is a device that is used to put people at ease when they're socializing. It's something to give relief of what to look at. Because especially if these are people who don't know each other, looking at each other is not an option. You can't stare at someone you don't know for a few hours while you wax poetic about your imagination. It is super, super awkward and not part of natural social interaction. Now, toward the end of the one shot, yeah, people are going to be openly looking at each other, maybe even reaching out to each other and touching each other, maybe on the shoulder, right? That could be part, if the brotherhood or the fellowship is really there. But you need something to gather around. You need something to provide relief from the social strain, but that unifies the purpose of the group. This is the campfire. This is, to me, one of the most important things and too frequently overlooked things of doing any game, whether it's a con one-shot or just a night on Friday with your best friends playing. If there's nothing to look at besides your character sheet, it's brutal. So be a cool DM and give them something, anything, even if it's one printout is all they get. It's in the middle of the table, and maybe it's just the wizard's lock, right? So maybe all you have is an 8x11 printout of the wizard's lock, right? It's this glyph. And so whenever I say the wizard's lock during gameplay, you know that that's what you're dealing with. And that's it. That's all you get. At least it's something. At least it's something. It's a campfire of sorts. It's a pretty lame one, but it's something, especially if this is really complex and has a lot of little detail and can be stared at for a long time. And there's like, you know, smaller lines inside the big ones, and it kind of has this whole like design to it. It's all weird and crisscrossy and multi-dimensional, and then there's little constellations. Look at these constellations. So this is just bizarre. What does this all mean? Right? It's something for me to focus on. Whew. Okay, so there I got a little agitated, but it's because I'm wanting to drive this point home for this stream, which we're coming up on being done. We're almost at an hour. What I'm really trying to drive home is that what your one-shot is the least of your concerns. Your concerns are about your creative method, the energy that you can bring when it's time to do the one-shot. Because there's going to be so many holes that you're not going to know the answers to. The biggest one being what people are going to frickin' do. You do not know what they're going to do. And if you do, you're cheating. Right? They can just foobar your whole thing. So you can't have all the answers. So being comfortable with providing them, that's your creative method. That's your energy level. Those are the two huge ones. And then the third one, not only with a one-shot, with any RPG session of any kind, is the campfire. That campfire effect, something to look at. And the more interesting that campfire, the more memorable things are going to be. People are going to be more comfortable. This dog is losing his mind with itching, so we got to conclude this stream. Anyways, guys, that is it. That's the stream. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This is Ankron Bernal here. I got to go help this dog out because he's having like an itch attack. Good Lord. MP simple villain ideas. No, man, we're way past that. We'll do that in another stream. That was a huge creative... Whoa. My brain is just jelly now. Whew. And that's how it do. That's 1 hour coming up with a one-shot from scratch. There's a lot left to do, but now I've got all my roots. I just need another little creative session later when my brain recovers, and I'm going to be ready to run a game. Okay? So all these videos will be going up for archive. I'm going to be doing cartoons or whatever this is Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday mornings from now on. So 9 a.m., 3 times a week, we're going to be doing videos. And this is gonna be the new Runehammer, man, because I'm tired of putting off videos so that I can edit them with a bunch of humorous editing and good camera work and cleverness. Enough of that. I want to get down to the creative work and the homework and get more done and get more content out there. And so that's how I'm going to do it, is this sort of vlog type style. So that's how we're going to do it. And I'm doing it at 9 a.m. because that's when my brain, the grapes are coming out. Brain, grapes, emerging, wine, strength, honor, beer. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This has been One Shot in One Session. Keep it real, don't steal. You're always going to get a deal, and I'll see you guys on the internet. Until then, peace. Yup,